call to order tonight's Board of Commissioners meeting for April 14th. Okay, so if we can do a roll call, Lindsay?
Mayor Lagos.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Holland.
Here.
Commissioner Brownlow.
Present.
Recording in progress.
Commissioner Plum.
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Commissioner Sawyer.
I make a motion to excuse Commissioner Sawyer.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Brownlow, if you will please begin with the opening prayer.
If those join me in prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight as representatives of this beautiful community, and we ask for your guidance and wisdom as we begin this meeting. We're grateful for the natural beauty that surrounds us here in Emerald Isle, for the ocean, the sound, and the land that we are called to protect and manage. Please grant us the clarity to make decisions that honor fiscal environmental stewardship and that serve the long-term well-being of all of our residents. Fill us with a spirit of cooperation and humility. Help us to listen with open minds, to speak with respect, and to keep the needs of our neighbors at the heart of every discussion. We ask for your hedge of protection over our first responders, our town staff, and every family that calls this island home. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Okay, if we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so next up is the time in the evening for public comment. Lindsay, do we have anyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Joel Dunn.
Good evening. Joel Dunn, 120 Ethel Drive. I'm here to just really to talk about a couple of things. One thing that's really been sort of burning up social media these days is 3405 Ocean Drive. And I know that the town manager and the commissioners are well aware of this. I just wanted to speak on behalf of any others that might be here as well to share concerns about the damage to the dunes at that particular location. And I hope that what we can do here is to come up with some methodology to prevent this from happening again. I mean, I think we all agree that that leveling the dunes in front of a house is a bad thing. And is there anything that we as a group can do to try to make sure that we don't find ourselves in this situation again? Right? And I'll leave it at that because everybody knows what's happening there. The other thing I wanted to mention was the towns of Pine Knoll Shore and Atlantic Beach have recently passed resolutions banning mass releases of balloons. And I would like to ask the town of Emerald Isle to consider doing something like this. Balloon releases, people may think that they're nice and neat and fun, but they tend to go in a lot of different places and cause a lot of environmental problems. I've picked up balloons 10, 15, 25, 30 miles offshore, balloons floating in the ocean. And most of the people here who are fishermen have probably done the same thing. You gaff them and bring them in and you throw them away when you get back. So I would ask that the town think about joining with Atlantic Beach and Pine Knoll Shores in banning mass balloon releases. Okay, and that's it.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Dwayne McDougal.
Hello, everyone. Dwayne McDougal, 9252 Osprey Ridge Drive. I, too, like my man here, I'm livid about that dune being taken out. And I want something done about it. We need code officers that are hired by Emerald Isle to look after this problem. I got a file full right here, and it needs to be addressed. That's all I'll say.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Michael Westbrook.
Michael Westbrook, 125 Deerhorn Drive. I think most everybody here, except for the mayor and the Commissioner Plum, have heard me rant on this before, I think 3 or 4 times in the past. But it has to do with parking, specifically for golf carts at the end of Deerhorn Drive. I actually talked to Frank Rush about it too last year. There are 7 spots. At any given time, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 25 or 30 golf carts in Deerhorn Dunes, plus across the street, and they all congregate there. Saturday I went out, there were 9 golf carts where we are. One of them had a ticket. Our great police department will always ticket a golf cart parked incorrectly. But having said that, I went down to the next one, which is Sea Dunes. There was 1 cart there. I went down to just past Conch, where there's another spot for 2 or 3 golf carts. There were none there. I went to Ocean Oaks. There were 4 in there, and they've got 10 spots. We used to could park across the street. That has now been marked. You can't park there. So the overflow used to go there. When you've got 20 or 30 golf carts, and especially on holidays, you got to get down at like 7:38 in the morning just to hope to get a spot. Now, I walk or run 30 to 60 minutes a day, so I don't really need it. But as I was just speaking to Dud about, virtually every ramp we've got has got steps at the end. If you're pulling a cart with coolers, carts, whatever you may have with it, you've got to pick it up and pull it down. You can't just roll it up and down the way it should be. The reason I spoke to Doug is I know he has common connections, and he'll be able to, we're going to actually go look at Deerhorn Dune. You walk off walk down the trail, walkway, you take about 7 steps down, then you got to take a left for about 10 feet, 7 feet, whatever it is, then take a right to get back on the trail because they don't connect. And why in the world that didn't connect to start with is beyond me. It could very easily be corrected. So anyway, that's it. I'd like to do that. Next month, I'll talk about speeders. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, at this time, since Ocean Drive is such a hot topic and something we're also very concerned with, and rightfully so, I do want to ask if Frank can go ahead and just address the room, if that's okay with everybody, just to kind of give us an update on what the town has been doing.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Lagos, commissioners. Happy to give you an update on this. Actually, this afternoon, Planning Director John Neville and I met with County Building Inspector as well as representatives from the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management. So we are actively working on the restoration plan as well as penalties for the violations that occurred. There are actually 2 violations at that site. One is a absolutely 100% black and white violation of the town's Dunes and Vegetation Protection Ordinance. There's an area roughly about 50 by 75 that was identified as natural area that was completely flagged. There's also a clear-cut violation of the CAMA regulations with regard to primary dunes. And so I don't want to lose anybody with this explanation, but probably the take-home message for everyone to understand is that in the CAMA regulations that govern oceanfront development and many other things in our area, there's something called an oceanfront setback, and that's based on the erosion rates measured from the first line of stable vegetation. Typically in Emerald Isle, that's 60 feet for a house less than 5,000 square feet and 120 feet for a house that's larger than 5,000 square feet. That line of vegetation now is measured exactly from where it exists on the ground, basically at about the base of the dunes. It wasn't always that way. Prior to all of the town's beach nourishment efforts, going all the way back to 2003, the vegetation line was actually about 60-foot landward of where it is today. And so you just heard me say that in many cases, a setback 60 feet could be as much as 120 feet. I think one of the things that happened in this particular situation is in the past, the primary dune, which is an important part of the regulations, you have to meet the setback from the first line of vegetation and you also have to protect the primary dune. And the primary dune's got a definition, has to do with the height of the dune and the location. And in the past, the primary dune was always within the oceanfront setback area in the days prior to nourishment and soon after nourishment. Now we've got, thankfully, as a community, we've done a great job. We've got so much additional dune field out there and so much additional vegetation that in some cases, including at 3405 Ocean Drive, the primary dune is actually landward of the setback in many places. So in this particular case, 3405 Ocean Drive met the setback, and they actually have a 120-foot setback in that location because the house is greater than 5,000 square feet. So that part of it's fine. However, the primary dune is located within about 60, 70 feet or so of that first line of vegetation, and they essentially, as many people I'm sure have seen the photos, essentially demolished that primary dune. So we, as soon as we learned about it, we placed a stop work order on the project. We also alerted the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management staff, met with the property owner out there. We indicated that we will not issue a certificate of occupancy until the dune is restored in that area. And so we're working with the folks at the Division of Coastal Management to provide guidance on exactly what that'll look like. It will need to be restored. It will be completely vegetated. They will not get a certificate of occupancy until that happens. And I think that's going to take some time for them to go through that process. There will also be fines levied to the property owner, both for the dunes of vegetation protection ordinance violation, as well as the CAMA violation. And we're talking with CAMA officials about the amount of that fine right now, too. So everything's in process. One thing I would say is that, in my view, it's completely unfortunate this happened. So this is clearly not anything we want as a community in general, and certainly not after we've invested tens of millions of dollars to protect that beach and build it up and build the dunes there. And it's a very, very unfortunate incident. Ultimately, I think the process worked the way that we would all want the process to work. None of us in this room can stop someone from violating an ordinance. We obviously hope that no one does. We educate people. We do the best we can. But in this case, as soon as we learned about the violation, we took steps to correct it. And I think that's all anyone can do in these situations. And so that part of it I feel good about. I feel like the system worked the way that it should work. Should we do something different in the future so that maybe we catch these things earlier? We can certainly talk about that and have those conversations, but that's not the way that our current system is set up. But the good news is a concerned citizen alerted us to this. We immediately took action and we'll get it resolved. And so ultimately it'll be restored. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything else you have.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so back to the agenda. Sorry, I hopped out of line there. Okay, so now if we are on number 6. So last month, we didn't have too many public comments that needed follow-up, but there is a printed sheet in the back if you would like to review it. And then Lindsay, if we can skip to number 7.
Any conflict of interest, Mayor Lagos?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Holland?
No.
Commissioner Brownlow?
No conflict.
Commissioner Plum?
No.
Commissioner Sanderson?
No.
Okay, so next up is the adoption of the agenda as written. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then, let's see. So next on the agenda, we have some introduction of some new employees. So if Chief Panzarella would like to get things kicked off for us.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce a new police officer and the elevation of a part-time employee to full-time. I think we have a picture of Officer Guffey. This is Officer Caleb Guffey. He wanted to extend his apologies for not being able to be here tonight due to a previous conflict. Caleb graduated BLET from Carter Community College in December of 2025. It has been his lifelong goal to become a police officer, and he is extremely thankful that the town of Emerald Isle has helped him fulfill his goal. Prior to law enforcement, Officer Guffey was a mechanic, a photographer, and today still enjoys umpiring baseball from Little League to high school. Second, I would like to introduce our full-time permit technician, Miss Deborah Wood. Come up here. Miss Debbie has been part-time with our department for approximately 3.5 years. Prior to coming to Emerald Isle, she worked 25 years for U.S. Foods. She currently works part-time at CVS as a shift supervisor. Ms. Debbie holds an associate's degree in medical secretary, which she credits to strengthening her foundation in organization, confidentiality, and administrative procedures. Ms. Debbie, if you asked her, would tell you that family is the heart of everything. Ms. Debbie and her spouse have 3 children and 8 grandchildren, who, as she would say, keeps life full. Outside of work, she loves walking along the beach looking for shells and attending her grandchildren's sporting events. She says these moments remind her of the importance of family, community, connection, service values, which guide her personally and professionally. If you would, please welcome Officer Caleb Guffey and permit technician Debora Wood.
Okay. Deputy Chief Coffey, please.
All right, I had one that wasn't able to be here tonight. She let me know just a few minutes before the meeting, so I don't have a photograph of her, but Ashley Shelton is one of our new employees. Born and raised in Layton, Utah, about 25 minutes north of Salt Lake. Recently moved here with her boyfriend Morgan, who is stationed as a staff sergeant at Camp Lejeune. She says, I always wanted to be a paramedic, but couldn't decide to be a firefighter, too, until she was about 19. Her dad is a retired firefighter and teaches classes still in Utah. She's very passionate about her job and loves all things paramedicine. She tries to bring a little smile and a little sunshine on people's worst days. She was an acting officer at her previous department in Utah, as well as the department's lead paramedic and fire field training officer. She loves being outside, being active, the gym, golf, paddleboarding, hiking, hunting, fishing, but also enjoys sitting on the patio reading with a glass of wine. She is very excited for her adventure with us. Ashley Shelton. Secondly, Mr. Erich Dyjack. He is with us. Erich served for 4 years in the Army at Fort Bragg as part of the 82nd Airborne. He's worked with us part-time since November of 25. He is a firefighter EMT basic and a rescue swimmer. After his stint in the Army, he moved back to Arizona just to turn around 4 months later and come back to North Carolina to pursue a beautiful woman who is now his wife. He began volunteering at Swansboro and has always been proficient in the water and wanted to work somewhere he could use his abilities for the betterment of others. And that's exactly what we found here. Ladies and gentlemen, Erich Dyjack. All right, the third is a promotion rather than a new employee. Back in March, we held a lieutenant's process to promote a new lieutenant in an absence of one leaving. Danielle Dugas is being promoted to lieutenant on A shift. She started the department as a full-time firefighter EMT in October of 2017 on a SAFER grant. She was one of 3 firefighter EMTs hired at that time. She was the first full-time female firefighter of the department. In January 2020, she moved back home with her now husband while continuing to serve the department in a part-time capacity. During that time, she remained committed to growth in the fire and emergency services by obtaining her paramedic certification. As the first full-time female firefighter, now stepping into the role as the first female lieutenant, she is incredibly prideful and honored to take the next step in her career. She looks forward to leading with integrity, supporting her fellow firefighters, and continuing to grow personally and professionally while remaining committed to serve the citizens and visitors of Emerald Isle with dedication and respect. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Danielle Dugas.
All right, thank you so much, and congratulations. Okay, so next up is the consent agenda. You guys had a chance to review it. Can I ask for a motion for approval?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next, we are expecting to see a presentation from the fire department as well, from Evan Fleming, or, yeah? All right. So this presentation is going to show us a Community Connect program that they will be implementing here shortly.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Evan Fleming. I'm a firefighter paramedic with Emerald Isle Fire Department. I have the opportunity to share a new program with you that we're launching. We're going to go ahead and go through this presentation, and I'll open up for questions if anybody has any. So here, we've partnered with First Do, which is what we use for all of our software, all of our EMS reports, fire reports, and stuff like that. This is going to go ahead and be a program and extension of that helps us better serve y'all. Emerald Isle Fire Department Community Connect Rollout Plan. So this is a comprehensive rollout plan focused on implementing Community Connect across Emerald Isle's unique demographic. We got 3,500 full-time residents roughly, and then anytime during the summer, especially on the holiday weekends, we can have up to 50,000 people. This strategy prioritizes full-time residents and businesses first, followed by target engagement with the tourism and hospitality sector with specialized outreach to the geriatric population. If you don't know what geriatric is, that means over 65. Sorry for some of you. Purpose of this initiative, I'm trying to be nice about it, but we'll use medical terms. Purpose of this initiative, enhance emergency response effectiveness, improve resident and responder safety, provide actionable information before arrival, and strengthen community engagement. What is Community Connect? So Community Connect is a secure program, and what you can do is you can go ahead and register your house with the fire department. So we do this every year. We go out to every business. We go ahead and talk to the business owners and stuff like that, figure out who the property manager is, who we need to contact if there's ever an emergency. But we're not able to do that specifically with the residents of Emerald Isle. As most of you know, pretty much every house on this island is custom made. Every house is different. So in cities like Kinston, New Bern, stuff like that, you can generally go in the front door and walk straight out the back door. We can't do that here. We don't know what the layout of your house is. If the bedroom's on the third floor or on the first floor, it's different. You know, oceanfront, back, could be a totally different house, literally just across the street. So this will allow you to go ahead and tell us where your bedrooms are, who's in the house, who owns the house, and all the things like that. It's completely secure and encrypted, so nobody will be able to access that. You can go ahead and list residents that are in the home, any medical needs they may need, if there's any special populations inside of those residents that may need anything special outside of what could be provided on a day-to-day basis, hurricanes and stuff like that. Why Emerald Isle? We have a very engaged population here. All of you seem to be out here pretty much every week or every month to go ahead and take part in these commissioner meetings. We have a seasonal population fluctuations. Like I said, we could have up to 50,000 people during our peak season. Elevated coastal construction, so this is very particular to this area. As a fire department, it's something we hassle with. We try to tame, train, and do all those things that we can, but you know, it's just a different atmosphere than most colleges even teach. We have limited ingress and egress routes, so we're using stair chairs and stuff like that a lot to get people outside of houses, and we need to know what equipment is required prior to arrival to that residence. hurricane and coastal storm risk. So with this, we can go ahead and actually send active alerts to all the residents that are signed up for this. So if we have an evacuation alert and stuff that we need to go ahead and get out to residents, we can send emails and texts to those phone numbers that you register with the fire department. And then a high percentage of vacation rentals. So hopefully down the road here, right now I'm just focusing on telling vacation rental property owners, if an emergency happens at your property and you're not there, wouldn't you like to know, right? And so how do we get a hold of you if we arrive on scene at 3 in the morning and there's an emergency at their property? We don't know if this is an Airbnb or what's going on. That information will be provided to us so we can go ahead and contact that homeowner should an emergency occur. So information residents can provide, floor plans, access points, utility shut-off locations if you have gas, electric, water during the winter storm, pipes freeze, stuff like that. We need to know where those water shut off so you can go ahead and protect your property the best we can. Gate code or lock boxes, whether you're in an HOA or you just have a front door code so we don't have to break in your door. If you don't want to provide that, that's fine. I like breaking doors. It's pretty fun. It's one of the things I enjoy in this job. But if you would like to provide that, it's great. Medical and functional needs. So anything you may need as far as, like I said, stair chairs, wheelchairs, stuff like that to get you out. If you're on oxygen and the power goes out, we need to have supplemental oxygen for you. Hurricanes, if we need to do evacuations and stuff like that, all that will be listed and easier for us to access. Pet information. This is a big one for a lot of people. Where your pets hide, where they sleep. If there's ever a house fire, you're not always going to be able to find them, but they generally go to a location that they feel safe or where their owners are at. And if you list those locations, we can better serve you to help get them out in the event of an emergency. Hazardous materials or special risks. This isn't very big around here, but just be concerned about, some radioactive stuff, but we don't really deal with that here. Benefits to residents. This is faster, more informed emergency responses, improved care for elderly or disabled occupants, better protection for second homes and rentals, increased peace of mind. That's what I like to emphasize on. This gives you peace of mind. This allows us to help you en route to the scene. We can go ahead and actually pulls up all your information. Shall we be dispatched to your address? And gives us all this stuff while we're en route. So we're better able to serve you before we get there. Benefits to the town, supports overall risk reduction strategy, enhances responder safety, improves operational efficiency, and demonstrates proactive public safety leadership. Phase 1, we're kind of in this phase right now. We went ahead and did a soft launch at the St. Patty's Day Festival. Currently, we have about 50 people signed up. It's a little below my goal. I was hoping to get 100 throughout, then and now, but we're working to get that a bit higher. Hopefully, this is one of those ways that we can go ahead and get that. I've actually got pamphlets up front. If you guys want, you can take those home and you can actually scan a QR code and go ahead and sign up. It takes about 15 minutes to get your house fully registered with the fire department. This will train all fire department personnel on Community Connect, but only certain people have access to it, myself, chiefs, and each shift, A, B, and C shift will have somebody who will have access to those, so we can go ahead and better serve you should an emergency happen or you need to register yourself and I'm not there. Marketing materials and development. We're designing brochures. We do have those designed. They're a little expensive, so we're trying to go the cheaper route and promote through Facebook and stuff like that, help you guys save a little bit of money. Develop door hangers for neighborhood and stuff, like I said. My big point of sale is going to be those HOA meetings coming around. I know some of them have already happened, but this is a big time of the year for that, so hopefully I can see some of you around during those, and I'll pitch it there. We want to create postcards, all that stuff, but the big thing, like I said, is that QR code. It's going to be all over Facebook. I'm going to have the town post it, the fire department post it, or share it, and we can go ahead and do that either through Facebook or click the link on there. Partnership development. So down the road, we can go ahead and better suit our businesses with this as well. Like I said, we're going to meet with business associations and stuff like that, HOAs, just to better suit us. Hopefully we can get some of these put out at restaurants and bars and stuff around town where people can go ahead and pick them up and sign up. We're going to reach out to hotel managers and resort directors. It's a little bit rare around here, but some people do have family members that may be visiting, and then their home family members live on the island, so I'm hoping we can kind of reach everybody there. Schedule presentations with neighborhood HOAs. Phase 2, so this is going to be launching year-round resident outreach. We're kind of already started this, talking to news outlets and stuff like that. Schedule interviews with local media outlets, social media campaign, post announcement to the town website and Facebook pages. Tourism and business sector outreach, I touched on this a little bit too. We're going to go ahead and put pamphlets out where we can so people are aware of what's going on. Whether you live here full-time or not, you have access to getting these things. Sustained engagement and expansion, month 6+. So we're going to keep working on this and pushing this. We're going to go ahead and reevaluate about every 6 months and go ahead and see if this is something the town is enjoying and is beneficial to the town. Hopefully it is. With y'all here, share it with their neighbors and stuff like that, because help me help you. I'm only so much and I can only talk to so many people. Just touch on this a little bit, performance evaluation tracking, monthly registration tracking reports, quarterly review, survey participants for feedback and stuff like that. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not a big PowerPoint person. I'm not great at them. I never like even reading them myself, but I'll be willing to give one. So does anybody have any questions about this process or how it works? No?
Are there other communities in the county that are using?
So there are not other, we are the first one in the area to launch this program. There's a few other big cities that have done it and tried it, and they have quite a bit of success with it, especially being how big they are. Like I said, I'm just trying to get this. We have a small community, so I'm hoping we can hit it pretty hard and get a lot of exposure here.
Great job, Evan. Good initiative.
Yep.
Sorry. Is there a plan to help those citizens that might not have a computer or are not internet
So yeah,
savvy?
thank you for asking that. If you do know somebody that doesn't have a computer or able to access it, you can come to the fire station. I can sign you up personally. So like I said, we have somebody on each shift, whether the chiefs are there. I know Danielle is the one for A shift, and then Hannah is going to be our B shift coordinator. So no matter what time of the day, 24/7, there should be somebody at the fire department that can help you get signed up. Thank you for asking that.
Mr. Plum, you pretty much took my question, was QR codes are QR codes. Not everybody's up to speed on QR codes. Excuse me, were there alternate channels? And just a suggestion, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
When you do put it into print media, the news interviews and everything, an emphasis on scanning a QR code is not the only way to sign up. You know, making sure that everybody's comfortable with the ease of signing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Base covered. Thank you, guys.
All set?
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Also, there's pamphlets here that you can take them with you. I printed out about 25. Share with your neighbors.
Okay, agenda item number 13 is where we're at, and so, wait, no, are we? 12, I'm sorry. I thought that was a little early. Okay, so Candace, if you'll please come up and speak with us about a grant application from the NC Public Beach and Waterfront.
Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I have a wonderful opportunity. So I am seeking your approval for us to request a grant from the North Carolina Public Beach and Coastal Waterfront Access Program to improve the Channel Drive access. So currently, Channel Drive has 2 handicap parking spaces. And actually, if you could pull up that photo for me, please. Thank you. So you can see the red line here is actually where the access ends. So we don't have any ADA compliant areas there. But with those 2 handicap access or parking spaces, we need this to be a truly ADA compliant, and that would take us to 4 ADA compliant beach accesses here in Emerald Isle. The other 2 being Randy's Way, Eastern Access, and Western Access. So this is Emerald Isle's goal, is always to offer access to anyone and everyone, and so this would truly enhance that accessibility. This would be about a 270-foot improvement, so quite a large project, which we've already gotten some quotes on that. It's just south of $100,000 at $99,827. This grant is a 75-25 match, and so therefore we would be seeking approximately $74,870. And then we're working with Laura on the budget to incorporate about $25,000 from the town in fiscal year 26-27, so that if we are awarded this grant, we can move forward with this project. I think that this would significantly enhance accessibility to our visitors and our residents alike. Pre-applications are due in just 10 days on April the 24th, with final applications due on the 31st if you make the first round. And then award announcements are September or October. So if this is approved this evening, I'll work hard over the next 10 days to get this in and hopefully be awarded this grant and this opportunity. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Candace, on any of these sites, have we looked at making the parking spaces truly ADA accessible? I know that they currently are not.
We have not as of recently, and that would be something that we would truly do.
Is that
if
something that we can
grants.
incorporate into the cost of this grant?
Absolutely, we can look into that, yes. I think that's a great suggestion.
In the process of potentially making them truly ADA compliant, also they're going to be wider, I'm assuming
Surfacing.
There's not a lot of space, not a lot of opportunity for additional parking, correct?
I don't think that we could add any spaces at that location. I know for a fact that we couldn't, but we could expand them slightly. There is the space to widen them.
Okay.
And the turnaround area or unload area for the wheelchairs?
Wheelchairs, correct.
Yeah, and the surfacing is the most key.
Yes, yes, we could definitely have that paved there.
Okay, are there any other questions, or are we ready to?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution amending the North Carolina Public Beach Waterfront Access Grant Application, Channel Drive, handicap accessible improvements.
Okay. All
I
those-
would like to add that we explore adding the proper surfacing for those parking spaces in that, if you wouldn't mind, Commissioner Brownlow.
And parking, I think it's a great improvement.
Would you like to reinstate the motion? Or can we?
The motion, a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing North Carolina Public Beach and Waterfront Access Grant Application, Channel Drive handicap accessible improvements, including adding the parking improvements for ADA compliance.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed.
Thank you.
All right, Laura, now it's your turn.
I was going to stay here if that's all right.
Okay.
I don't have a PowerPoint tonight. But the Agenda 13, we are requesting the approval of a one-year contract with Sharp Patel CPA firm from Raleigh for our 2026 financial audit. The contract is quoted at $30,259. And it includes both the assistance and the preparation of the document as well as the full annual audit services. Since fiscal year 2017, the town has worked with S. Preston Douglas and Associates, and we've been very pleased with them. They've had great quality of work. However, in accordance with our fiscal policy, we do periodically recommend that we either change the auditor or change the audit firm to maintain independence and keep a fresh perspective on our operations. Earlier this year, we solicited proposals from several audit firms, and we received 5 proposals from qualified firms. The town's audit committee met and interviewed the top 3 firms, and based on that review process, the committee is recommending Sharp Patel for the upcoming audit. Sharp Patel they have extensive experience working with local governments and colleges, and they serve several municipalities similar to us, including in Indian Beach. As an example, they're committed to meeting our timeline, and we have a target to get the final report done and presented to the board by November. But this is in advance of the statutory deadline. The deadline is December 31st. The fee is very similar to the current audit, and we may have a single audit that would be a little bit more work. If we have for example, our FEMA 428 grants, large state and federal grants over $1 million in spending will add a little bit of extra work. And so that might be $1,500 to $2,500 more if we hit that threshold. So tonight we're requesting the approval of this current year agreement. And, assuming that everything goes well this year, then we would come back annually for a renewal with Sharp Patel. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Laura, I was on that audit committee, and I thought the candidates you selected were all very highly qualified to do this job for the town, and I appreciate your effort into that. And the only thing that really separated them was their prices, actually. And we're getting a pretty good deal on this auditor right here. I think he's going to do a good job for us, and you did a good job picking those out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing audit services contract with Sharp Patel CPA in Raleigh.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, Laura,
Thank you.
we'll stick with you for the next one as well, where we talk about the interfund loan for the Pebble Beach land acquisition.
Yes, thank you. So tonight, we are asking the board to consider two actions associated with the Pebble Beach land acquisition. We've prepared a resolution authorizing an interfund loan for $1 million to procure the land. And also, if that is approved, we would have a corresponding general fund budget amendment for that. Previously, the board had approved the acquisition of the 2-acre tract of land on Coast Guard Road for $1.3 million. And this site is the site that would be intended for a future fire station to improve emergency response times to the western portion, Coast Guard Road area of the island. So the original plan, when we had presented that, was with a traditional bank financing. We didn't have quotes at that time. We've since evaluated alternative options, including the use of available idle funds within the Future Beach Nourishment Fund. Currently, the Future Beach Nourishment Fund has $9.5 million in reserves, and we do not anticipate having to spend that down in the next 5 years. It is very important to point out, however, that the Future Beach Nourishment Fund, the majority of that fund is restricted and would be unavailable for a loan. However, we researched this, and the portion that was originally where we transferred money into the fund from the general fund would be considered unrestricted. And so that's the portion that we are only requesting a loan from, for a short-term loan, of course. I understand from Frank and the Beach Commission that there is a project on the horizon in the next year or two, and I understand preliminary estimates for that project are around $6 million, and so we felt that we still could manage this loan with that project coming up. The key advantages to doing an internal loan, interest payments will remain within the town. We won't be paying that to an outside party. We would avoid additional legal fees and closing costs, having that lien on that property from the bank. And we would also, the advantage is doing it in a five-year term as opposed to 10 to 15-year term, so we'll pay it back much quicker. We are proposing that this loan would carry a variable interest rate tied to the fund's investment earnings. We are with North Carolina Capital Management Trust, and we're earning 3.62% currently. And so we would pay the loan back at the current rate of whatever rate is earning. That compares the quotes we got. We had 3.78% from a bank on a 5-year, and we also had 4.76 on a 10-year as a comparison.
Variable in line with that rate, not plus or minus?
Those were fixed rates. Actually, the bank rates were fixed. Yes, that's right.
But the variable rate,
We would.
With that rate, not plus or minus anything?
No, just
Right.
whatever that, in that current period, whatever that earnings were. On the internal side, yes.
Thank you.
With that, we've calculated a payment calculation, and so payments are estimated using that rate to start around $225,000 from the general fund back to the Future Beach Nourishment Fund, and it would decline over those 5 years as we pay it down. If the interfund loan is approved tonight, then we would have to recommend a budget amendment, and we would change our original budget with the bank financing. We would have to just change that to a combination of the $1 million interfund loan, and then we have identified $305,000 that are available in the current year budget. And the $305,000 that we have identified is property tax did come in greater than anticipated, so that we have $115,000 unplanned from property tax. We believe that we should have $50,000 additional in sales tax revenues, and then $140,000 in cost savings across 3 departments. And so that's how we felt comfortable with the $305,000 being paid out of this year's budget. There is one very important caveat that I had to mention, and I did want to present it tonight, and it's in the memo. Because of governmental fund accounting requirements, this may very well affect our available fund balance calculation that we do every fiscal year at June 30. And I think that it may happen in June. I can't say for sure, but the main reason why is because we are still waiting on our FEMA 428 grant reimbursements. We have been affected. We have been delayed by the federal shutdown. And so I do believe that once they come back to work, the project will get started again, but I can't guarantee that that deposit will be back on June 30. And so that may mean that our metric is lower than 25% that I usually report on at every fiscal year end. We have taken this into account, though. We've carefully considered the bank loans, the internal fund loan. We spoke and had a Zoom meeting with the folks at the Local Government Commission, and we still feel that this is a good solution. It's good for the town and keeps the interest within the town. And so with that, I can answer any questions, but we're looking for your consideration and approval of both the resolution and the budget amendment.
All right, I'd like to ensure the audience and our taxpayers that this is not a slush fund that we take lightly, that we would go to for any reason. And explain, if you will, why we went this route on this particular project.
We've actually done it before.
I know we have.
Yeah, so thank you for that. So I think it was 2009, perhaps I'm looking at Frank, but so previously the town did need a project where they were considering a bank loan, and they did go to the Local Government Commission and were able to, they were authorized to go ahead and proceed with a beach nourishment loan to the general fund, and in fact paid it back very quickly. I think there was.
It was paid off early.
Yes, it was paid off early. And then again, more recently, I want to say, I'm looking at Frank again, maybe 2017, the exact years, but we were constructing the Welcome Center. And so we, again, went to the Local Government Commission, made sure that we were okay. We had the funds in our Future Beach Nourishment Fund. Briefly used that, and I think within 1 year, the TDA was able to pay for that because that's a TDA paid for building, and so they paid it back immediately. So we quickly refunded the Beach Nourishment Fund. As soon as we got those funds back, we put them right back. So, and I think importantly too, that we're making sure that we're paying interest as well.
Correct.
It's not interest free. So
And market rate interest.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Laura, how much is this going to save the taxpayers by doing an internal loan? Or
Yeah,
Frank?
question. Or yeah, I don't know if we had that in the memo, but
So the total interest payments over the 5-year term, based on the 3.62% rate, it's a little shy of $100,000. So instead of paying that to a lending institution, we'll pay that to ourselves in the Future Beach Nourishment Funds.
And I'm all about saving some money for the taxpayers, so good job on that. I like that. Excuse me.
And one more comment, thank you, Lindsay, too, we also did prepare, or we asked for a public hearing too, just to be sure that
I
we
was
were.
gonna ask.
Yeah. So when you're
I make a motion to open the public hearing if everyone agrees.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now in public hearing. Okay.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Well, I would like to ask and see if anyone has any questions now that you've heard a little bit more, if that's okay with you all.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions they would like to address? Okay, go with your
Make
motion.
a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Laura, I had a question. Can you clarify for me, I think this is what I heard you say, that we had previously moved these funds from a different fund, and that's why they were unrestricted? And we
Yes.
could use them?
The Future Beach Nourishment, the monies that are deposited there and reserved for future nourishment projects are roughly a third of municipal service district tax, the tax that is on the oceanfront and inlet front properties. And so that is restricted just for nourishment projects. And then the interest earnings, that's about a third of the fund. And then the other portion that we transfer is from the general fund. And so we've kind of delved into that quite thoroughly with the LGC, the Local Government Commission, to make sure. And they deemed that the tax portion and the interest, we shouldn't touch that portion, but if we could easily identify the general fund portion, then that would be unrestricted.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation. I know that was a question that popped up a few times.
And the project that the Beach Commission has coming up is, it's more like a hotspot touching up. It's not like a big scale, large scale. So it's just kind of like doing some patchwork.
Okay. Any other questions, or should we?
One thing just to add to that, so by the time that project occurs, we'll probably have a balance of in excess of $10 million in the future beach nourishment fund. So if we spend $1 million on this, and if that costs $6 million, I think we're still very safe going forward. So no real practical concerns about cash flow or being able to fund those projects.
No crystal ball, but God forbid we have a catastrophic weather event and need those funds, need that money, want, whatever you want to phrase it, put sand back on the beach in the event of a H word. Any potential negative impacts that would have, that's my only question.
I think we would potentially go for a bank loan at that point.
That would be the worst-case scenario.
Yeah, and like I said, no crystal ball and not trying to doom and gloom or anything like that. but,
Absolutely, yeah.
Just a question that popped in my mind.
And I think, again, I don't know for sure, I can't count on this for sure, but in the past, when Florence hit, it was a good example, the most recent example of something awful. The state did offer a revolving loan for communities where we could, to bridge that gap of, repair, and then we paid it back once FEMA kicked in. So that might be an option too. I'm not sure if they can, of course, but,
That's when they had money.
Yeah, that could be something that might occur in the future.
Just popped in my mind. Thank you.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, I think, in a worst-case scenario, whether we did it now or in a year or 5 years from now, the option is always there for a traditional bank financing. It's just an easier, simpler process to use.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, are we ready to make a motion to adopt the resolution for authorizing interfund, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the interfund loan for the Pebble Beach land acquisition?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then we also will need a motion to adopt the general fund budget amendment.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion's passed. Okay, agenda item number 15 is a fun one as well. So this is a resolution establishing an Emerald Isle Youth Advisory Council.
Mayor Lagos, Commissioner Plum, I'll walk you through kind of the mechanics of it and then turn it over to Commissioner Plum for any additional comments. This is something that came out of the conversation that you all had at your March 10th meeting. So we've basically formalized it in a resolution, if the board is so inclined, to go forward and create the Emerald Isle Youth Advisory Council. Essentially, what the resolution says in your packet is that we would create this council, and basically the purpose of the council is to advise the board and the staff on any issues of relevance to young people in Emerald Isle, and equally important to foster civic engagement and develop leaders among the Emerald Isle youth in the future. And we actually have a high school class assignment, so we've got several high school students here tonight, and perhaps we have some potential recruits out there. The membership of the Youth Advisory Council would be a total of 8 members. It is specifically attempting to mimic you, the elected leaders of this town. So we've essentially recommended setting it up where there is a youth mayor and a youth mayor pro tem, and then 6 other members. So 7 of those would be voting for the Youth Advisory Council. A couple more than you guys have, but trying to be inclusive, as many students as possible. Eligible to any high school students at Croatan High School, any homeschool high school students in Emerald Isle. If there's an Emerald Isle property owner who perhaps goes to high school in Greenville or New Bern, where have you, could potentially be eligible for this. Ultimately, the Board of Commissioners would make those appointments after an application process. We're proposing a 1-year term with an annual appointment beginning July the 1st. The meetings would be held on the 4th Tuesday of every other month, starting in August, 4 p.m. in this room. Certainly, if there are members of the council who are from other communities, we would allow them a remote participation option. And so that's basically the mechanics of the meeting. Our intent is to structure their activities very similar to yours. We expect to have an agenda. We expect to comply with open meetings requirements and so forth. So that, again, the goals are twofold. One is to provide a mechanism for the Board of Commissioners to get input from the youth in our community. There may be topics that they come up with on their own. There may be specific topics that you all assign to them. And then also just to expose them to local government and hopefully cultivate the next generation of leaders. Maybe some of the students here tonight will be sitting in your chairs someday, or mine, and that would be a great outcome. So there is also a recommendation for one member of the board to be a liaison to the group and would certainly attend and help coordinate the group's activities. And certainly myself and other town staff will help out as necessary and move forward. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of how we've set it up. If the board approves this tonight, I would expect that we would solicit applications in May and June, and then schedule the appointments for you at your July meeting, and then convene the council for the first time on the fourth Tuesday of August. Again, it's set up to coincide with the school year. So Commissioner Plum, if you want to add to that, I know this is something that's very important to you, but these are the nuts and bolts of it that we're recommending.
Thank you, Frank. That was a very great overview. When I was running for commissioner, one of the things that stood out was that our youth need to get more involved. And that's actually why I sit here today, is because when I was in high school, there was a few teachers that touched me and some different things about government that got me interested, and here I am today. So that's what I want to do with our youth. When I contacted the high school principal about this, he was ecstatic, definitely backed it. I think we're going to have a great turnout, and we're going to hear from these children and what they want for this town, and what the future looks like for them. So I hope the rest of the board supports this initiative, and I look forward to getting it moving.
This is great.
Is there any kind of specialized training for them, like in the ethics and procedures and stuff?
Not a bad idea. Most of these kids might come from the student government aspect of the high school, so they're already schooled in the way that they should behave and communicate with others, but something we could definitely look into.
Yeah, and I think certainly at that very first meeting in August, we'll go through a presentation on the nuts and bolts and the mechanics of everything and provide that training as well.
To encourage applicants, we will not hold them to the sunshine law, and they can hang out with their friends.
Good point.
Maybe if we have a good contact with the school government, they can, not going to send them to Wilmington or Raleigh for municipal government 101 or something like that, but maybe if we have good contact up there, some high-level training or something, that's not a bad idea at all.
Right.
Commissioner Brownlow there.
A lot of that stuff is available online, that I'm certain that we could have access for those too. Actually, all of the ethics courses are available online.
Yes.
I met several students from the from Croatown High School that have came in and sat in on meetings, as part of their class. So that's a great job by you.
I have projects already lined up, so hope you're ready to get your hands dirty.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution establishing Emerald Isle Youth Advisory Council.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with our round the room comments. Lindsay, do you have any?
No comments.
No? Laura, do I call on you normally?
No, but I don't have any comments.
No, thank you. You said a lot already tonight. Frank, what do you have for us? Or Mark, sorry.
I just want to say I think that youth council is fantastic, as I think I'm still youthful, but participation in my age group is woeful throughout Eastern North Carolina. So if this gets one more vote in, I think it's a resounding success. So
I think you sound
I
like a
think that Mark
volunteer.
just volunteered.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Speaker.
sure, happy to help anyway.
Okay, Frank?
A couple of things. One is reminder tomorrow, or Thursday at 2 o'clock at the boat ramp is the dedication of the Gold Star Memorial by the Garden Club. That's at the boat ramp right next to the Veterans Memorial. The public is welcome and encouraged to attend. We hope that folks will come out and commemorate that with us. The recommended budget, we are working diligently on that now. I expect we'll present that to you at your May meeting. followed by at least one and perhaps additional budget workshops later in May, and then additional budget discussion at your June meeting, where you could potentially adopt it at that time if you're so inclined. So we'll make all of that available on the website, newsletter, Facebook, all those kinds of things when it's available. But working on that. Interviewing fire chief candidates tomorrow. Have a great panel assembled, as well as the fire department staff participating in that. So looking forward to that. I'm not sure if he's still here now or not, but I want to just recognize publicly Chief Panzarella's retirement. He'll be retiring at the end of this fiscal year after a very long, nearly 35-year career in law enforcement. So appreciate his service to the town and wish him well. We'll do something as it gets a little bit closer going on. I included a long explanation of kind of the process with Fire Station 2 right now. I've been updating you all about the negotiations on that over the last several weeks. I'm waiting for revised construction cost numbers from DR Reynolds, the contractor. I'd hoped to have them tonight, but they're not able to have them until probably a couple weeks from now. So I plan to have a decision on your May meeting agenda as to how you'd like to proceed on that. And hopefully make the project a reality in the not too distant future. But working through some of the cost concerns and trying to get to a manageable project. A few other things included in the packet. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about any of these. You may have noticed that the bird statue has been relocated from the roundabout over near the public sign. So our staff's working on getting the flagpole installed sometime in the next few weeks, and looking forward to having that done. Lots of other things in here, and happy to answer any questions about anything on your mind.
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a call out for the additional bike path lighting, because I do know that has been a comment for quite some time now, so I was happy to see that pop up, that there'll be 6 new additional decorative lights along the bike path between Loon Drive and the Welcome Center. So that's really fantastic. They're hoping that they're in place by Memorial Day weekend, for those who didn't see that paragraph. And there's a lot more going on with the Garden Club. Chris, you talk about that.
Yeah, we are going to improve the water tower park. That has become an eyesore. Where are we? Over here? This way. This way. So that's where we're going to get some volunteers from the local high school to help us, because it's a big lift. So we're going to improve that with flowers and plants and things like that, just to freshen it up.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Frank? No? Okay, well then, Chris, why don't you just take it away, since I already got you talking.
Any comments?
Yes.
So on Friday, the North Carolina League of Municipalities is having a webinar on what the state is doing with trying to stabilize our tax rates. So I'm very curious to what they have to say, and hopefully we'll get to have a forum, open forum here with you all shortly to discuss things not in this setting, and I'll let you know what I've learned and how that's going to impact us in the future. That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Holland?
Hey, unless I read it incorrectly, our Tree City USA designation was approved. Is that accurate? We thought it wasn't, and then they had made a mistake.
Yeah, it was approved, so we'll get started on that after July 1st and get working on it. So good news.
Okay. The only other thing with the leveling of that dune, not trying to burn anyone at the stake or anything like that, but when the first time I saw that picture, and the first time someone showed me that picture, they asked me if it was AI generated. It didn't even look real. I don't know how else to say it, but I've not seen anything like that ever. And even if you weren't a builder, you should know better. If you are a builder, you definitely should know better. I don't know how to say it. Every step that the town can take to make sure that it never happens again, or that if it ever does happen again, accountability is held to its highest, I'll back it 100%. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. I know we can't be everywhere every time. I know a lot of times town staff takes it on the chin as far as enforcement and things like that, but just based on experience, I know you can't be everywhere all the time, but I think there's been an example can be made here that we do spend tens and over the course of years, hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure that we have great beaches and that not just for tourism, but that properties are protected. Every effort that the town could make to make this an example that you don't do stuff like that, I would support it 200%. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement with this one, for sure. Yeah. Alicia, do you have any comments for this evening?
Yes, wish Frank and staff well, everyone who's sitting in on the interview process for the fire chief beginning tomorrow, and our new police chief, thanks to Chief Panzarella for all of your years of service, and I hope everything goes well and that we end up with an excellent candidate. And I know that it's a busy time of the year to bring those on, but we've witnessed the fire department carry on without missing a beat, and I don't have any reason to believe that we'll see anything other than that. I would also echo Jason's comments on just the horror of 3405 Ocean Drive, and even though there's nothing any single individual could have done differently aside from the builder and the operator of that backhoe or whatever apparatus was used to destroy that dune, I do apologize to especially the adjoining properties for that breach that has been created for you, and rest assured the town will work diligently to make sure that that is repaired and replaced as soon as possible.
Thank you, Alicia.
I'll just close with this, that tonight we've been talking about making some smart financial decisions, with the interloan, financial thing, and then the importance of our natural resources. And, the resources are important infrastructure for our town too. That's our property values. That's what brings tourism here. It's what keeps our taxes low. And I've heard a lot of talk lately about, we need more rules and strict rules. And if you look at the rules, they're pretty good rules actually, and including the camera rules. I worked for camera for 35 years and helped write a lot of those rules, and they got plenty of teeth behind them. But the challenge before us is our ability to make a credible presence on the job sites. And I've been talking to Frank about that, and I've been talking about this when I was campaigning, and because I heard the people telling me about it. And since the year and a half now I've been on the board, I've been advocating that we need more code enforcement officials on staff. And I think we're to that point now where I think I can get some support for that. And I would challenge my colleagues on this board that to seriously consider that and strengthen our enforcement presence by hiring some help for our single individual planner. He can barely, he's got his hands full. No staff is accused of this. It's just the fact that it's a technical problem here that we just haven't got the staffing to do it. It's like having when we got rid of the inspections department. Imagine if we got rid of the police department, there might be a few crimes broken if we didn't have a police department presence. And so it's about time we put them back, have our inspectors back. And with that, while we're doing this financial thing, I think this is going to establish just not where we're going to go today, but where we're going to be going tomorrow. So I implore my colleagues on this board to seriously consider we do something to get some staff in here to help the planning and inspections department.
Okay, I don't have too much to say other than I think this was a really great, productive meeting tonight. I feel like there was lots of great conversation. And so I just feel really positive about the way the town is going. And I do also just want to mimic and say thank you, Frank and John and everybody. You guys really reacted quickly and in a very productive and swift manner. It was really impressive, and I think you guys did a great job. I hope you guys can come out to the Gold Star Memorial this next week, and then,
Thursday. This Thursday,
on Thursday. It's on my calendar.
2 o'clock.
But spring is upon us, so I hope everyone's enjoying the nice weather and seeing, just the buzz coming back to town. So thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Aye.